So I want to make some commentaries about that. Those of you that have known me for years know that I'm a believer in word origins. And one of my favorite experiences with this wonderful dictionary I have was to look up the word love when I was a counselor for 44 years at one point in my career. In the middle of a therapy session, I looked up the word love in this dictionary of mine, and I found that it was based on the word fond. And then I looked that word up in the dictionary, and I found that it was based on the word fun. So linguistically, the word love really goes back to the word fun. So I developed a kind of theory that in our society we kind of know the inherent intuitive meaning of words. So we're in a restaurant, say, and we see a couple, and they're not saying a word, and they're kind of frowning, and we kind of whisper to each other, and it's not like they're in love anymore. So fun is an important part of life, something I really do my art because of that sense of love, fun. One of my sayings lately has been, since 1978, when my late wife and I started our private practice, I haven't worked. I've just played seriously and gotten paid for it. So I think all of you, and many of you do, should have a vocation, a calling, something you love to do. And that's what I would hope would happen in your life too. So in terms of illuminating experiences, I wanted to read one of my favorite stories, which those of you that know me pretty well maybe have heard me tell it. So if you'll bear with me to tell it one more time, because it's probably my favorite Asian story, and there are copies of it around. You may have already looked at it. The Student and the Master at the Monastery. And these Asian stories take years, but this will be the Reader's Digest condensed version. Only one page. A young man decided to become a student at a monastery. What influenced his choice was that at this monastery a very famous teacher resided. After the young man had taken instruction for a year has gone by, he saw the great teacher for the first time. He was sitting alone in the garden. The young man took a step toward the teacher, but was afraid to interrupt his serenity and was cowed by his fame. 2 years later, as the story goes, he again saw the teacher. He was more self-assured now and walked up to the master clumsily and said, "Are you a teacher?" The famous man said nothing, and the student felt very foolish, as we all have when we've spoken stupidly. Something I still do. 3 years later, the student